Eric Miller's parents left his bedside for less than an hour to get dinner. When they returned, he was gone. His heart had stopped. Nurses and doctors worked to revive him, but it was too late. Eric was 30 years old, a pediatric AIDS researcher at the University of North Carolina, married to his college sweetheart, and father to a young daughter. His death would be ruled arsenic poisoning. But the question that would take investigators nearly 4 years to answer was simple. Who had been feeding it to him? Raleigh police opened an investigation immediately. They started retracing Eric's final weeks, and what they found didn't look like a single, isolated poisoning. It looked like a pattern. On November 15th, more than 2 weeks before his death, Eric had gone bowling with a group of his wife Ann's coworkers from GlaxoSmithKline, the pharmaceutical company where she worked as a research chemist. One of them, Derril Willard, handed Eric a beer. Eric took a sip and said it tasted strange. Within the hour, he was violently ill. He was hospitalized, then transferred when tests revealed unusually high arsenic levels in his blood. By November 24th, he seemed to be improving and went home, though neighbors noticed he now needed a cane to walk. Detectives quickly turned their attention to the person closest to him, his wife Ann. But suspicion wasn't proof, and what investigators didn't yet know was just how far back the planning went. Weeks before that bowling trip, someone had already set a plan in motion. Someone with steady access to a toxic chemical compound and steady access to Eric himself, his food, his drinks, his hospital room. That person had time to watch him grow sick, time to watch doctors get baffled, time to wait. 6 days after Eric came home from his first hospital stay, following dinner with his wife, he collapsed again. This time, doctors confirmed it without doubt. Arsenic. He was hospitalized a second time. He would not leave. In his final hours, his parents stepped away just long enough to get dinner. In that narrow window, someone was alone with him. That person reached into a purse, pulled out a syringe, and pushed its contents directly into his IV line. Hours later, Eric Miller was dead. Whoever had done it walked out of that hospital, and in the months that followed, moved on. Ann distanced herself from Eric's parents. She relocated. She remarried, this time to a Christian rock musician named Paul Kontz. To the outside world, she was a young widow rebuilding her life. To investigators, she remained a suspect they couldn't yet charge. The case might have stalled there, but 2 days after Eric's death, police had already searched Ann's workstation at GlaxoSmithKline. They found a chemical compound containing arsenic, the same substance found in Eric's blood. It wasn't enough on its own. Then came the emails. Digging through Ann's messages, detectives uncovered a secret. A months-long affair with her coworker, Derril Willard, the same man who had handed Eric that beer at the bowling alley. Phone records showed more than 100 calls between them in a single month. One call, 24 minutes long, was placed from Ann's phone to Willard's just 3 hours before Eric died. In January 2001, police searched Willard's home and brought him in for questioning. He denied any involvement, but detectives sensed he was hiding something. Days later, before investigators could push further, Willard took his own life. He left no note for police, but before he died, he had told someone what he knew, his attorney, Richard Gammon. And that conversation, protected by attorney-client privilege, became the case's last locked door. For over 2 years, Gammon refused to talk. Prosecutors took the fight all the way to the North Carolina Supreme Court. In a landmark 2003 ruling, the court decided the public's interest in solving a murder outweighed Willard's right to privacy, even after death. The court ordered Gammon to hand over his notes. What they revealed finally closed the case. According to Gammon's account, Willard confessed that Ann had asked him to help her poison her own husband. First, she'd spiked Eric's beer at the bowling alley. When that didn't kill him, she laced his food at home. And in his final hours, alone in that hospital room, she had injected arsenic straight into his IV line. Willard told his lawyer he had asked her one question: "Why did you do it?" Her answer, according to those notes, was just 3 words: "I don't know." With Willard's confession finally in hand, a grand jury indicted Ann Miller Kontz in September 2004. She turned herself in. Nearly 5 years after Eric's death, in November 2005, she stood before a judge and pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The judge asked her directly, did she, with malice, intentionally participate in causing Eric Miller's death? Her answer was one word: yes. She was sentenced to 25 to 31 and a half years in prison. In court, Eric's sisters confronted her face-to-face, demanding to know why she had destroyed their brother's life. Anne offered no explanation, only a brief statement of remorse. Derril Willard never stood trial. His widow later said she didn't believe he was capable of murder, only of loving the wrong woman. Eric Miller never saw his daughter grow up, never saw his research move forward, because someone he trusted completely decided his life mattered less than her secret.